I'm in danger.
So, I have done a lot of digging in the past couple of days, creating a leaked, definitely not faked or misled conversation that I have right here on my monitor that I may or may not post to my Twitter. This is way too funny. But, okay, I think I'm good. Intel executive, we need to beat AMD in gaming again. What can we do? The engineer says, we could push forward with 10 nanometer, PCIe Gen 4, and start working on 7 nanometer. Intel executive, nah, let's just sell a $400 cooler, pump a bunch of voltage in it, but it's fine. We're just going to avoid their warranties since it's overclocking. I had the same reaction as the engineer. What? Executive, it's okay. People will definitely buy it. Like, what? As you can see here, we have the beautiful, beautiful transcript. I don't even know what I'm going to say about this. Intel, what were you thinking? I had so much faith in you with the 10900K. It's an amazing processor, especially for gaming. You push the ring or the cache, you push your memory. But this is unacceptable in my opinion. I feel like you've had this for a while. Tech cooling has been around for decades now. And the fact that you decide to do it a week after AMD announces their brand new CPUs, you tease it on Linus's channel a couple days before Zen 3. It's almost sad how you're acting, in my opinion. You're selling a $360 water block and a $400 AIO. I'm not even against it though. Like, that's the issue. The issue though is why you put it, and the fact that you really are only pushing this towards a 10900K, and your marketing, in my opinion, is terrible. You said, oh, we should have a 10600K, 10700K. Where are the videos talking about those? I would love to see this with a 10600K. I think that value proposition could be a very good deal. Make you lose the 4 cores, make it worth it. But where are the videos showing that? I don't know. I mean, if you have it in your budget and you're willing to do it, it makes sense. I mean, because you're getting the price of a 5950X. But then you can just, I don't know. There's a couple things I am definitely going to talk about here with it. So here we have the motherboard compatibility. I actually am going to hide my camera for a second just so you can see the motherboards. So we have the Gigabyte Z490 Aorus Master. It's an amazing board. There's really only 2 boards I'd recommend being worth it because you're going to want to push your CPU very hard. I'd recommend the Maximus 12 Apex and the Aorus Master. Now, I have issues with a couple of this. I really wish they would have had the MSI Unify ITX. It's an awesome board, especially if you're overclocking and you're going to be overclocking focused, especially with this cooler. Maximus 12 Apex, dual DIMM board. But I've known about 5 people in Discords who have literally had them code 00 out of nowhere. Like they maybe just take out the CPU once. It's gone. But obviously, we got to see. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I really wish they would have had the Z490 Dark. I think that would have really been the icing on the cake for a lot of people, especially overclocking. I really don't trust this 750 watts. These CPUs can pull 500 watts. And the cooler, that means it's got to pull... that means that the rest of the system, including the cooler, has 250 watts under load. I know some of the... I know these coolers like under full load are doing like 200 watts. First of all, that's very impressive for a tech cooler. Some of them are doing 500 plus, like the ones that like people are making themselves for their own coolers. I don't have an issue with that at all. I also have an issue with the way that they kind of Cooler Master wanted to promote themselves. They didn't show which case to support it besides theirs. That's kind of annoying, but obviously you gotta understand they're out here to make money. I mean, who really has bought a Cooler Master case in the past? Ever. Probably in the past 5 years. No one really buys Cooler Master cases anymore. They made kind of a slight comeback in 2017. A bunch of tech YouTubers were making cases with them, probably because it was sponsored. But I'm really interested to talk about why you shouldn't trust the benchmarks just yet. Do you see this little banner right here? Sponsored by Intel. Why? Why would you do that? Now, I understand a couple of things, and we're going to talk about this. I think it's really cool that Intel kind of admits there are Everest chips out there. An Everest chip is the best chip you can get. It has the best binning, and Intel saved them and kind of just gave them. They're going to give them out for, I think, LTX this year, but obviously that didn't happen. What annoys me, though, is the fact that they're basically saying with giving out these chips to the average consumer who watches video, I'm going to be able to hit 5.7 gigahertz on my cores. Well, in real life, no one's going to do that because these are chips purposely made for these videos. We even have Jer Bauer doing it. Now, I do think his was slightly better. He went kind of in depth. He even had a thermal sensor on the back. Obviously, I was very interested in his, for example, showing the voltage and showing all this. Now, I don't like this active cores. Preferably per core is a lot better because every core is going to be doing something on your computer. You're very rarely going to have a computer with one core only doing something. For example, we can show this. We can do GPU, I think, show by logical processors. All my cores are doing something. And I just have a File Explorer, a Chrome, and Firefox open. They're all doing something. So that basically means you're most likely going to be somewhere around, I would like to say, especially on this processor, the 5.6 to the 5.3 range. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm also scared about those motherboards. I feel like they do have the backing on it. I don't know how that's going to affect condensation. Condensation is a big deal. Going back to Linus, I did like how he definitely kind of called Intel out on a sponsored video and was like, hey, you're doing this right after AMD announces. Is there a reason why you're doing this? And I like that they showed crashing. I mean, that's kind of annoying. Now, I've said before a lot of places, I don't like having bloatware. As you can see, literally my PC has no bloatware. Bloatware for me is something like the Logitech G Hub software, for my mouse, Corsair iCUE. That's why I don't recommend to anyone Corsair fans, especially the RGB ones. Now, Stream, I think this and Ryzen Master, they're both very similar. I think these are very cool because of the fact that you can test stability in your operating system. I still don't believe this is the best way to test your CPU. I always believe going in and BIOS, setting it for real. I don't trust software. I found software to kind of be buggy at times with stuff like this. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. You can try however you want. I don't like how they forced you to have the CPU cooler be on your task manager. You have to have the software running. Even if it's taking on your CPU, it's still something running. And you kind of have to keep monitoring it, which is very hard, especially because I only have one monitor plugged into here. So it's if I was using it, I couldn't be oh, what's my CPU at? Am I boosting right? I think it might be better just to get, in my opinion, here's what I would recommend. An Arctic Liquid Freezer. Now, they just announced the 420. We're actually going to show the 420. Yes. I'm going to be honest. For a lot of these, you can get a 240 mil Corsair for this. And you're getting this for this is insane, especially with the VRM fan. You're going to be super cool. And then you can push pull these, get slightly extra airflow because this is not a thin radiator. I always recommend these coolers to people. I always say, always go with performance over looks, because your performance is going to last you a lot longer than. I can't believe I spent $100 on 2 RGB fans when I could have spent that $100 on nicer RAM. That's just how I feel. Obviously, say as you do. I want to try this out, but I also don't want to pay for it. I'm really interested to wait until I think the end of December for these to come out. Wait for people to actually get them in their hands, see how they're overclocking. I expect a lot of people to definitely be overclocking through their motherboard and just kind of seeing what they can really push all cores to. I'm really interested in gaming for this. For example, something like Call of Duty Warzone, where it's very much CPU and RAM intensive. Like, that's all it is. I'm very interested in that. I'm super excited to see what is to come. If you are, I'll probably live stream it on something on Twitch and then upload it to here whenever that happens in December. We got about a month and a half maybe until that can come. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you guys are new. And I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.